It's a new week. It's a new day. Thank you, God. Today, like most of you out there, this weekend was before Sunday. Saturday was one of those days where it was just a hard day. But it was a good day too. We had one of our models here who, over the past week, she came and stayed with us. It's a girl that we've been developing now for a couple of years from Texas. Colored her hair red, had her here, had an awesome couple of test shoots, and that always is so inspiring to us. But you know, the reality is life can be challenging, and as with any parent, when any of your kids, whether they're little kids or whether they're adults, when they're hurting, we're hurting. And it was just one of those weekends where life got a little challenging, and they're all doing well. It was more kind of a sadness thing. We all have times where disappointments happen, or you're not feeling fully supported. I guess that's kind of how I would define it. It was that where in this life, the best thing that we can do for each other is support each other. Support each other as we are, for who we are, love each other for who we are. This morning I was like, it started yesterday, prepping for what the topic today would be. And by the end of the night, it was so clear to me that today I just want to talk about love. And also within the confines of parenting, mentoring, mothering. Our life is built around doing all that we can do to support, encourage, and love in a parental way. Not just our children, but also the people in our life, our models. But of course, our children will always be number one, and grandbabies. Anyway, it was by intention, a very quiet weekend. By Saturday night, I literally sat here, turned all the lights down in the office. Jeff went up and Melissa, they were watching a movie upstairs. I turned on my music. I closed my eyes and I just got quiet and really found the strength in my relationship with my Father in heaven. I mean, that's just a reality. I found this contentment. Got up the next day, Jeff went to go, I don't even know where you were, but he left and I was going someplace, who knows? But Jeff called and told me Kobe Bryant died. And when you hear something like that, you think, in today's world especially, oh, that can't be real, or that must just be some hoax. And then very quickly you realize, no, this is real. Then it was time to walk Mercy. I went to walk her, and it was during that time that there was speculation. At one point, ABC had reported that they thought all of his children were with him. And then you find out that his daughter was with him. Our son Elliot has always loved Kobe, and we were spending time with him yesterday, and just the sadness, the heaviness about it. And he was like, oh, he had such a beautiful relationship with his daughter, and he was very well aware of it. I wasn't. This was all new to me, but obviously now in the flood of the past 24 hours or however long it's been, you see the images and you go, wow, he was a great father. And parenting is such a beautiful, hard, wonderful thing. And his example will obviously have ripple effects. One of the things as the day went through, you started to hear quotes, and we just had a quiet day. Elliot was here with his daughter Scout. We went and had lunch. During that time too, it was all over all the televisions where you could hear, everyone's still in shock and the reality of it. And it makes your whole world stop. And the day before, I had already been so focused on love and family and the kind of love that God has, the kind of love that's unconditional, the kind of love that's real and raw and hard. And that's what makes it beautiful. Tough love, good love. It's what we all long for. But in order for us to get it, we have to be willing to give it. We had a situation last Fashion Week season. Jeff and I have always been known to we live with our hearts open. And so if we see a need, we're going to give it to somebody. And in this particular case, we had helped a girl with clothes, and then afterwards you get really tough and you go, we're never going to do that again. We're going to be tough. We're not going to give. And then next thing we know, the past week, it's just that you want to love how God loves. You want to love in a way that makes somebody really understand how much potential they have. You want to love people. One of the first things when we moved to St. Louis, we started going to our church, St. Louis Family Church. The thing that I loved, it was not a religious place. It was not a judgmental place. We knew it was our home here. And our pastor would always talk about the love walk. He would always say, I want to walk in the love walk, meaning I want to navigate through life, circumstance, hard stuff, good stuff. In every way, I want to walk in a love walk where and that's a vulnerable place to be. It really is. And sometimes you get burned by it hard, but then other times it's so inspiring. By the time last night Millicent was leaving, we were waiting for the Uber to pick her up to take her to the airport. And Jeff's sitting on the couch and he said, I just want to tell you, you have reignited something in me. And it was reignited through the giving and through also seeing somebody transform into a version of themselves that I'm telling you, 2 years ago when we met her, was it 2 years ago? It was in 2017. That's so crazy. It's watching what encouragement, love, and support can do for a person. Sometimes it doesn't come from a parent, sadly, and that's okay, because there are people that can come into your life as a mentor. In the interviews today, it took me a long time before I even got on to watch Good Morning America because I knew it was going to be hard to watch. But also the tributes to Kobe over and over and over talk about his love and his passion for life. Even the fact that he loved to go and traveled a lot in helicopters, who would have known? And sadly, that's where he lost his life. But when you live big, you live big. And it's so much better than not. And seeing him pour himself not only into his daughter, but they talked about his commitment to youth, his commitment to young players. I relate to that so much because we've spent our life believing in young people and pouring ourselves and the people around us, pouring into them. And I just beg of you, if there's people in your life that you're judging or putting off, or maybe they didn't live up to your expectation, life is short. Get over it. Get over it. Love people where they're at. You'll be blown away at the transformation that can happen. I loved this quote. He talked about fierce, unconditional love. And that, I love the word fierce in that reference point. Somebody I follow on Instagram, Bob Goff, love doesn't need to keep track of the outcomes. People aren't projects. People are human. We're all flawed. We all have challenges. But I do know that when you feel love and feel supported, anything can happen. I was adopted. I knew from the time there was never some time where they told me I knew it my whole life. And they let me be me. Even I was a little bit different than, I liked fashion and weird things that were not the things that my mother or my father were passionate about, but they could see it in me, and so they loved me and supported me and fueled that inside of me. Through the years of mother, we have seen parents who put such pressure on their kids to be perfect or to be who they want them to be, or to say, no, you're gonna follow in my footsteps, instead of letting them be who they are. Last night, the Grammys were so beautiful, and I've seen a couple of stories now on Billie Eilish and Phineas, her brother, and their parents, and I'm like, I am sure that there are a million other parents out there that sat in judgment of those parents because they did it their way, and these are their kids, and they let them be who they are. And I think that's the most beautiful thing in the world. And if you don't have kids, or if you see not even a young person, just anybody who's not allowing themselves to be themselves, do everything that you can do to fuel the flame in them so that they can be everything that they're meant to be. Our kids are not our possession, they're not our trophy. They are meant to be encouraged to be who they are. One of the many, many things that I love about Jeff Clark is that he, from the time we became Insta family, it was so important to him that each of our kids be who they are, and he really encouraged it and continues to this day, because they're all so different. And that's the beautiful thing. It's the same thing with our models. You have to let people be who they are, because you never know. You never know. Yesterday was the example that we never know. I made the decision when I was young. I was 19 years old when I found out that I was pregnant with my firstborn, Tiana. I just happened to find this letter recently. This letter is the letter that I wrote to my mom and dad, but this directly went to my mother to tell her that I was going to keep my baby. And, you know, I look back now and I think, oh my gosh, I had no idea what I was in for. And they loved me and supported my decision. And I just can't tell you the importance of looking around your world and making sure that people feel loved and feel supported. We are our brother's keeper. We are here for each other. Kobe had a dramatic impact on lives because he lived life to the fullest, because he loved deeply, because he then took everything that he had and he was doing this new chapter, which I know will live on. And I just think it's beautiful that it was literally, when you really look at it, all based in love. Hoda Kotb is another person I follow on Instagram, and today this was a quote that she posted. If you love something, love it completely. Cherish it, say it, but most importantly, show it. Love is finite and fragile. And just because something is here one day, it may not be the next. Never take it for granted. Say what you need to say, then say it a little more. Say it too much. Show it too much. Love too much. Everything is temporary but love. If there's any relationship that you have that you've pulled back, sat in judgment, become critical of that person, I would just ask you today to learn what it is to forgive, learn what it is to love without condition, and learn what it is to live a life passionate and engaged every day. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you next Monday.